My dear brothers and sisters, as I said, we gather here this evening on an important day, Maundy Thursday, or Mass of the Lord's Supper. We all know the significance of this day. Traditionally, there used to be 3 different Masses today. Early morning, a Mass is celebrated. It is called the penitential Mass for the sin of the people of God, where together with the priest, the whole community used to pray and ask for pardon and offer the Mass. The second Mass is celebrated by the bishop together with his priests, called Chrism Mass, where the sacred oils are blessed. The third Mass is celebrated in the evening, called the Mass of the Lord's Supper, Maundy Thursday. This significance or the importance bring the inner meaning of today's celebration. In the Old Testament, we see the priests used to offer sacrifices. First, they offer sacrifice for their sins. They purify themselves. They sanctify themselves. Then they offer sacrifices on behalf of the people to purify, sanctify the congregation. Always an animal, a lamb or pigeons or different animals were slaughtered, I would say, or sacrificed and offered as a sacrifice on behalf of the people. See the beauty of today's celebration. The Lord takes the bread and giving thanks, broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take these and eat of it, for this is my body, which will be given up for you." He takes the chalice and giving thanks, he would say, "Take these and drink of it, for this is the blood that I am going to shed." Therefore, here the Lord is not going to kill an animal to offer the sacrifice. He's going to give himself, his body. That's why we read in the Gospel of John, chapter 6, the Lord is telling, "My body is the real food. My flesh is the real food. My blood is the real drink. Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you will not have life." Today the Lord is giving himself as the bread of life. That's why the Lord calls himself, "I am the bread of life." So therefore, Jesus is becoming the victim. Jesus is the high priest. He is offering himself, and he himself becomes the victim. The very birth of Jesus in Bethlehem reminds us this. We would rather celebrate Christmas more joyfully, the birth of Jesus. But the original purpose of the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem, the meaning Bethlehem is the bread, house of bread, house of meat, just 10 kilometers away from Jerusalem. So, the lambs were brought to Jerusalem to be slaughtered, to be sacrificed. So Jesus is born in Bethlehem to become a victim for you and me. That's why the Lord is telling today, "I give my flesh, I give my blood, so that you will have life in you." Therefore, the Lord is instituting the Eucharist on a day like today. on an evening like this. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, to celebrate this Eucharist, we need priests. That's why Jesus instituted the sacred priesthood today. Therefore, the priests of the church today will have to follow the founder of the priesthood, Jesus, who became a victim. The Lord did not just enjoy himself being in the comfort zone. Somebody recently said, it is Father Lubomir. Fortunately, Jesus did not have an office. He was always found among the people. He was meeting the people. He was available for the people. And thus he becomes the victim. So we as priests need to learn, not that we are going to close our offices. Otherwise you will close us. It is important. But the priesthood has to be lived following the founder, the high priest of Jesus. The victimhood. My dear brothers and sisters, very much it is highlighted only the priests who are being accused as abusers. The world does not remember the sacrifices the priests do. How many priests are working in missionary lands? Every new day is a miracle for them. They do not know at what time they would be caught, at what time they would be captured or killed. They are hiding themselves for the sake of the mission and doing the mission. It's a great example for all of us. Therefore, this priesthood, my dear brothers and sisters, we need to celebrate thanking God. If you ask me, the best thing that you experience in your life, if you ask me, I would say this priesthood. If a very bright student scores high marks in the school, in a college, it's not a miracle. We know he or she is bright enough to score that. But weak children, suddenly, if a child unexpectedly becomes with a good result, it's a miracle. I know that it is a miracle in my life that I stand before you as a priest. That is the blessing that God has given me. The Lord, He showed how to be humble. He washed the feet of His disciples. I don't see any other master, a guru, would have done that. He washed the feet of His disciples. The humility. I always feel I'm very much humbled when you all come for confessions. That teaches me a lot. When you enter the confessional, when you come for confession, you kneel down, you forget all your social status. You forget all kinds of qualifications that you hold. You humble yourself, kneel down, and you trust the priest who is seated there. And you confess from A to Z. You place the trust on us. Whatever I tell this priest, I know it brings forgiveness. Here I learn every day how to be humble. The joy of my priesthood is here. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, This priesthood is not for Father Roy. This priesthood is not for Father Anup, Father Lubomir, Father Anska, Father Anthony, Father Victor, or anybody. This priesthood is for you. It comes from God. It belongs to you. Therefore, you need to sanctify us. You need to uphold us in prayer. The hands that were consecrated, anointed, is to bless you. Therefore, you need to help us to grow in that spirituality. You need to support us spiritually through prayer and stand with us that your priest sons may not go astray. It is your responsibility. We depend on you. What is the meaning of priesthood without you? Am I to close my room and inside pray from morning till evening or 24 hours? My priesthood is for you. And you need to uphold us in prayer. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, make our priesthood more meaningful. Make our life more meaningful with your support. Third, the Lord instituted the Eucharist. This Eucharist is not only to be celebrated on the altar. This Eucharist is calling all of us to a Eucharistic life, breaking ourselves. You and I need to break ourselves for the service of others. We need to love the Lord in our daily life. Every mother, every father here, when you wake up, you are starting the day with that Eucharistic life. The sacrifices that you do at home, the hardships that you go through in your life, the difficulties that you go through in your life is teaching you the Eucharistic life. Your commitment to the family, your commitment to your profession, your commitment to your children is the Eucharistic life. That Eucharist you need to celebrate. That Eucharist you need to celebrate with the Lord. You can be happy about it. So without that Eucharistic life at home, don't just simply depend on the sacrament of the Eucharist. Of course, the church does not replace anything or substitutes anything with the Eucharist. Eucharist is the source and summit of our Christian worship. There is no change in that. But what is celebrated here has to be lived outside. So outside the Eucharist is more important, my dear brothers and sisters. So let us come to this experience. Today, the first Eucharist ever celebrated in the world was Jesus and his chosen 12 apostles. Remember always, when you come for the Eucharist, the Lord wanted you to be here. This is an upper room. The Eucharist is celebrated with whom the Lord wanted, not because of that you wanted. Just look at the first assembly, the congregation, the 12 of them. One has already was bribed to betray Jesus. Another one unintentionally was getting ready, unconsciously getting ready to deny Jesus. All others gave various promises, but they will run away from the Lord. The Lord will be isolated. In your life, every day, you need to be with the Lord. What is your mentality when you come for the Eucharist? So let us celebrate this Lord's Supper with joy, because the Lord, he is giving himself for us.